Sorry, folks. Little glitch. I tried to share the video over here, and I pressed the wrong button and accidentally turned it off. So now I'm gonna try and get everybody back. Oh my goodness.
Okay.
So we're going to start back at the beginning when you were talking about the ultrasound when you went in for baby Maddox, number 3.
Okay.
Baby Maddox. And the ultrasound tech said something pretty significant to you.
Very significant. I went in for my ultrasound with the new baby for them to tell me how far along I was. And I was talking diet, paleo diet, and other things with this ultrasound tech. And I always, since vaxxed, have always tried to find a way when I'm talking with people, we're talking medical, talking diet, talking things like that. I squeeze in my 2 cents about vaccines. And this was no different. So, I kind of had, shared my story a little bit about my first son and about vaccines. And she said, she goes, yeah, I will never vaccinate if I have another child. She said that her child became blind after a routine vaccine visit. And I felt very validated. I felt like I had said before with praying to my mom, that she had always seemed to put people in my path during this pregnancy that would always kind of confirm and validate my feelings about vaccines and about this whole movement that we're working on.
Okay.
I went to all my doctor's visits. I ate healthier with this pregnancy. I ate a clean eating diet. I took a whole foods prenatal supplement, or fish oil, organic. So much healthier with this pregnancy. I opted out of all of the vaccines that they tried to offer me when I was pregnant, the flu, the DTaP.
Let's talk about the conversation that you had with the doctor when they offered you the DTaP and the flu vaccine while you were pregnant.
I felt like I went through, can I say where I went through to have the baby? Can I?
Well, maybe not the hospital per se, but.
Well, the OB that I went to, I don't think they were necessarily on my page, because of course they're in the medical field.
Right.
So they have a different opinion, but they didn't make me feel like I was crazy. They just said, okay, we'll bring you the waiver, and it was no big deal. They didn't, I don't feel like I got pressured.
They didn't push you?
No, they didn't push me. They didn't pressure me.
Morgan, would you do us a favor, sweetheart? Take your baby brother in the other room, because he, as lovable as he is, and you are lovable. We do love you.
Y'all go right
You
there.
guys will have more fun playing in the other room.
Yeah, go right there.
Go on,
Perfect.
go right there, just outside the door. Thank you. So your mama can talk about baby Maddox's story. Okay, thank you. Perfect. Okay. Because you know why? Because this story, you didn't realize it before, but the story of your boy getting injured by the MMR has been, we've beaten that horse to death.
I know.
They don't listen, they don't care, they just completely we're crazy if we think that. But when you show a baby, look at this baby. You guys look at this baby. Look at him. This is what babies are supposed to look like. Perfectly healthy, intact nervous system. Okay, so
Just turned 3 months on Wednesday. He laughs, giggles, follows me with his eye movements when I walk around the room, recognizes me and his brothers and dad.
mm-hmm.
He can roll over almost.
Mm-hmm.
He's, in my opinion, I feel like he's more advanced
Mm-hmm.
at this age than my other 2 were.
Right.
I mean that.
Right.
You know, he's
Okay, so let's talk about you're pregnant, because I remember the day you found out you were pregnant. You were in tears.
You were the first person to know.
Really?
I
know,
called you were the
my
first person I
goodness.
talked to.
And
I'm
what
sure you
did I
can
not-
tell that by my emotions.
And what did I tell you? Said God sent you this baby for a reason.
That's right, and couldn't have been more true. Couldn't have been more true. So,
Okay, so let's talk about while you're pregnant, at the end of your pregnancy, I pulled you aside, and I'm going to give a shout out to a friend because Denise Young, one of my friends, Denise Young,
Say hi.
has put together a birth plan.
Yes, and that is the plan that I followed to a T. I did every single thing on Denise's birth plan. Tia and I had a conversation, and she said that she was doing her show on birth plans and how to try to have as holistic and natural experience with birth as possible if you're going to be going into the hospital. So because I had two C-sections before, I was really nervous about trying to have a home birth. I know some women said, you can do it, but I was still nervous. So I followed Denise's birth plan. Max, we did the delayed cord clamping. We did no eye cream. We did skin to skin, which I never got with my other two.
What was that like? Let's talk about that experience.
Amazing. It was just amazing. And then to hear your baby just completely be quiet as they lay, next to you. They come out of the womb, they're screaming. The doctors have them, they're crying, and they bring them to you and lay them on your bare chest, and they're calm as can be, and it's amazing.
So delayed cord clamping.
Left
the vernix on.
Left the vernix on. Yes.
Skin to skin immediately.
Skin to skin. We said no eye cream.
No eye cream. No vitamin K.
No vitamin K.
No Hep B.
No vitamin K. And that was, I think, the vaccine that they felt was so important for me to have. They didn't pressure me at the hospital to get the vitamin K, but they kept saying, because of like hemorrhaging, that the baby could, hemorrhage, the brain hemorrhage.
Oh, for the circumcision.
And if you take them home and they bump their head.
Oh my goodness.
All this crazy stuff. Reasoning why they want you to get the vitamin K. And yes, they even denied circumcision if you did not get the vitamin K.
Which was a good thing.
So we didn't do it.
All right.
They thought they were going to back me in a corner. They were wrong. So, but I will be honest that the hospital that I went to, I really felt like, even though they had different opinions than I did, they never, really pressured me. They might have given their opinions, but hey, right. I'm out there giving my opinion.
Right.
I don't think it's unusual for them to want to try to advise me with what they feel is best for me. Of course,
but that's their professional.
That's their job.
Oh, I'm going to fix this camera here.
Okay.
So the hospital respected you. Now, he was in NICU.
He was. We did do the skin to skin, but they did take him to check him. They said that he was having a hard time breathing from when they breathe in the womb and breathe fluid to having to breathe air. And especially because he wasn't a vaginal birth, he didn't get that good squeeze through the birth canal to
get all that fluid
out. And to, adjust to fluid to air. So he did have to go into the NICU for 2.5 days. But they had him on like fluids, like sugar water, until they felt that his breathing was, they wouldn't even give him formula or any kind of breast milk because of the breathing. They didn't want him to choke. So once he was developed on the breathing and had kind of gotten that down, they immediately started having me nurse, and I was nursing around the clock, going into the NICU to nurse. It was very stressful, not having him in the room with me. But like I said, I felt like I really had I was really at a good hospital. I had really great nurses. I mean, even if our opinions differ, I still like really respect them, and I love the hospital that I went to.
It's good.
So
That's good. Of course, I don't know if I'd have made it 2.5 days.
it was
Because at
rough.
5.5 hours, I was screaming, "You better bring me my baby.
I know.
I'm going to get up out of this bed."
I
You're
could-
like, "You can't get out of that."
I could
Like,
really
well,
tell though that he was having a hard time with the breathing. I
Yeah.
could see it too on a monitor, and just him physically, you could tell. And so I knew that he needed, to be there,
monitored.
and he needed to be monitored. And I had just had a C-section, so to think that, and I haven't, I told you my mom passed away, my dad passed away. I really didn't have any family that could stay with me. My husband had to stay with our boys, and of course I didn't want them to stay at the hospital for.
So a couple of days rest.
So I think it was kind of, just all in God's plan. I really do, believe that. So,
Yeah.
and here he is. Here he is.
Just
And he has
perfect.
not had one vaccination, and I will not vaccinate. So.
Well, I mean, you see the difference already, and he's 3 months old.
Mhm.
You can see a difference already. I mean, just wait until those milestones start hitting, and you go, "Oh my gosh, he just did that. Oh my gosh, he
And
did
I
that."
see that now. I mean,
Yeah.
he grabs for toys. He's moving his tongue, and I swear there are times when I'm like, "Hey," and he's like, and he just like almost like he's imitating sounds from me. But he's, they say third time's a charm, and I think they are right.
Absolutely. Well, I'm very proud because
Yes.
I feel like I had a hand in saving this baby right here.
I would definitely think Tia should pat herself on the back, because she definitely helped. She gave me a lot of support, because there are so many times where we meet up with, we go to these doctor's appointments, and they want you to do one thing, and you kind of feel one way, and it's just really good to have a friend that you can go to that really supports you, and is there for you, gives you advice, and keeps you focused on the plan that you want.
I wanted to say that for all the folks that are out there that are trying to do this, raise awareness. Sometimes we feel frustrated, like is there anyone that's even listening? Here is proof that what we're doing is working.
Yes.
And you've become a little bit of an activist too yourself now, haven't you?
A little bit.
A little
I try.
Talk about the nurse at Morgan's old pediatrician's office that you got to go see the movie Vaxxed.
That's right.
Talk about that.
Well, now she is no longer in pediatric. She went to a family doctor where she is no longer having to administer vaccines.
So this was the nurse that administered the vaccines that Morgan got? Okay, talk about that. You've known her. You've been friends with her for a while. You trusted her. She was the nurse that administered the vaccines that Morgan got, and Mason. And you saw the movie Vaxxed, and you ran to her and said, "You have got to go see this movie." Talk about that.
She was. I have this friend that worked at our pediatrician's office, and we're still really good friends. And we had conversations before. I think she was kind of already had her, she kind of had one foot over in our direction, like where she was kind of just not sure about vaccines and autism. And she has a typical child, but just being a nurse, I guess she, had just had her suspicions, I guess. So I got her to see Vaxxed, and it was not too long after that she made a little bit of a career change.
Okay.
So she got out of pediatrics and went to a family doctor where she didn't have to administer vaccines.
So the movie must have had an impact on her.
Absolutely, sure. Absolutely. And, of course.
Did she talk to you about how she felt after watching it?
We've had lots of conversations about vaccines. So I'm trying to remember like the exact one after the movie, but she was, basically just totally shocked.
Mm.
I think a lot of people after they see it, they're just kind of like,
Oh
it's
my God. Yeah.
It took me 2 times seeing it to like, I think, really process it all.
Yeah.
And, I've had several friends of mine that I've gotten to watch it. Another mom of, that was her son and my son were in the same class, so he has autism. And she's followed in line with me too, with waking up. So.
Oh my goodness. Well, I think that we have really done an excellent job on these videos. It's our first videos of vaccinated versus unvaccinated.
Yeah, I really appreciate, I'm a little nervous and I know I probably rambled a lot, but I really appreciate everybody listening to my story. And
so I'm going to come over here with you for a minute. Give you a hug.
This is just one of my bestest friends.
And what I want to say to you guys out there is, don't be afraid to talk to your friends about this. Jay, don't be afraid. Can I have the baby?
Don't be afraid to
Speak out.
Speak out, and especially with these doctors and these nurses, if you don't want that flu shot or you don't want the DTaP shot, you don't want your baby to get vaccinated, don't be afraid to make those decisions for your child. This is your child.
And talk to those nurses and doctors, especially the ones that you have relationships with. They may not listen to you, but you may be planting a seed. You never know. I mean,
and do your research. Because with the vitamin K, I told you I didn't get like pressured, but they really tried to validate like why I should get this shot, and the midwife from my OB was basically like, why do you not want to get this shot? And I pulled out my research, my stats on the vitamin K, and I told him,
so you had it all with you.
I had it all with me, and I told him, I said, babies, their livers don't even start developing until they're several days old. So you're wanting to give my baby these shots that their bodies. Their liver is not even developed yet and working. So how are they going to detoxify from these vaccines? And he just kind of looked at me and he was like, okay. He didn't have any argument with me about it, and that was the last conversation that he had with me about it. So when you go in, bring your A game. Know your stuff, know your research. Put it back on them. Show these doctors and nurses like what you know. So that you don't go in there and you sound you feel like you sound like a like a hippie, like, I just peace, love, and no shots, so don't be afraid to
stand your ground.
Stand your ground.
All right, Mama, we've done well. I think that the baby has had enough.
Thank you so much.
He was cranky and tired to begin with.
Yes.
Oh, but look at that face. See, but look at him. Look at how 3 months old, you guys. Yeah, and the only complaint he has is, I would like to go home now, please.
Yeah, I want my nap.
I want my nap.
I want my Cassie and my nap.
All right, you guys, signing off.
Yay! You did great. Oh, I hope so.